every American born gets $1,000 put into a Vanguard
it's a friend
account.
of ours, Brad Gerstner, with this Invest America is the concept.
And regardless if the concept is good or not, the emotional connectivity to the success of American industry is really important. When you know at 22 that you could get this thing that's been compounding for 22 years, you could pay off some college loans, you could put something down on a house, you could pay for trade school, whatever it is. I think you have a different energy towards America and its success. And then you have a lot less of these kids who are just like, America's this horrible place and capitalism is bad. Yeah, capitalism is bad when you're left behind. When you're invested in capitalism, it's
great.
the shit, baby.
Absolutely.
I did an analysis. I wasn't sure if I should put it out, but I'll tell you guys the numbers. The U.S. Social Security program is meant to be kind of the retirement program for folks that don't have access to private retirement accounts. And there's a trust fund. Every year, we all put money in with our Social Security taxes out of our paychecks, goes in there. It gets invested in one thing: U.S. Treasuries, which have averaged about 4.8% return since the beginning of the program per year. Meanwhile,
what if you put it into the market?
Meanwhile, the S&P has been averaging 11%. So here's the math. If in 1971, which was the year that we went off the gold standard in the United States, if we invested the Social Security Trust Fund in the S&P, the balance of the Social Security Trust Fund today would be $15 trillion. That would be roughly 1/3 of the value of the total S&P 500, which would be jointly owned by all Americans. Now, here's what's up. The middle-class people who had access to private retirement accounts benefited by buying the S&P 500, and the wealthy were able to access it. So all of the equity value that accrued from American enterprise and the prosperity of the American system accrued to the people that had access to the private accounts. Meanwhile, the people that only had access to the public accounts got stuck owning treasuries. Today, the Social Security Trust Fund has $2.7 trillion balance, and based on the outflows and inflows, it's going to go bankrupt in 2032. That means Social Security is either going to get cut, or the Fed's going to print a ton of money to keep Social Security benefits.
Retirement age goes up a little bit. Yeah, there's a lot of levers. Yeah.
Wow.
So I did the math. If you assume that the S&P 500 continues to grow at 10.5% a year, we could put about $500 billion in the trust fund today, and it will not go bankrupt again. And it will continue to grow every year. And then all Americans have participation in American enterprise. And importantly, this becomes the world's largest sovereign wealth fund ever. You don't need a separate sovereign wealth fund. We already have one.
It's called
the Social Security Trust Fund. And what we've done is we've totally mismanaged it. So basically, we've created, through the Social Security system, the deep inequity we see in this country. If instead we had allowed the Social Security system to invest in the S&P 500, to buy American enterprises, to fund American businesses, then every American would be wealthy, and that middle class that uniquely participated by basically arbitraging the market, where they forced the treasury bond yields on the poor and they got to take access to the equity yields, would have not happened.